thank for the organization of this event. It's an outstanding event. It's very impressive. So thanks for having invited me to talk about Pix. It's going to be a challenge to talk about Pix in 25 minutes. Pix has a huge framework, lots of features and aspects. So, but you know, I'll try to do my best. Well, we start off. This is the agenda for this conversation. First of all, I will talk about the public objectives during the creation of Pix, and the roles of the Banco Central do Brasil, BCB, and the PSP. PSPs are the institutions, the Pix participants, the banks, non-banks, credit unions, fintechs. Then I'll say a few words about the participation model of Pix, so who can participate in Pix, who can join. The adoption strategy that the Central Bank of Brazil, the Banco Central do Brasil, took during the implementation of Pix, and the reasons why Pix has become a very successful case, not only in Brazil, but worldwide. And then I'll talk about security. So it's important to talk about security. It's very important, so we cannot walk away from talk about security. And then I'll bring some figures. So the objectives of the central bank. Before Pix was implemented in November of 2020, and before the implementation of Pix, we had a high use of cash in Brazil. So, and as we know, cash handling is not so effective, so it's expensive for institutions, expensive for the central bank. And we had also gaps in payment instruments. The Brazilian market was very concentrated, the Brazilian payment market, was very concentrated in credit cards, debit cards, cash, and then the central bank felt the need to go forward and develop a fast payment system. But the central bank wanted that the private sector would to be the ones to develop Pix by that time. But due to the lack of coordination and a kind of lack of interest of the private sector, because costs, and the central bank decided to step forward and take the responsibility to develop the Pix. So, what was the objective of the creation of Pix? First of all, to contribute to the digitalization of payments, as we can see here. This is very important. Promote financial inclusion. So by that time, a great part of the population of Brazil, especially in the very countryside of the country, was unbanked. So they were out of the financial system. This was another, again, one of the objectives. Add convenience and remove friction in payments. Improve competition. So when you improve competition, you have more efficiency in the payment system. And to offer a payment option for innovative business. And lower payment costs, which leads to efficiency. But what is Pix? What is Pix? For those who don't know, Pix is a payment scheme created, owned, and operated by the Central Bank of Brazil. It's purely within the Central Bank of Brazil. It's for instant payments and transfers, but it's also for scheduled transfers. So if I want to make a Pix transfer like 20 days from now, I can do it. It's also for request to pay, so you can scan a QR code and pay, like for example, go to the supermarket, scan a QR code, and then you're good to go. And even for withdrawal of cash. Yes, you can withdraw money, cash, with Pix. You go to an authorized agent, like a supermarket, again, just an example. You send a Pix transfer, like for example, 100 reais. The supermarket will charge you with a fee, like let's say 5 reais, and you give you back change, 95. So, and then you have like cash sending a Pix. And the role of the BCB, the Central Bank of Brazil. It's the scheme owner, so it's the one who decide all the rules, all the policies within Pix, but is the one who has the infrastructure, so it's the infrastructure provider. All the liquidation, the payment settlements, they're settled on the central bank infrastructure. And the central bank is also the responsible to operate the alias database. The alias is, for example, a phone number or email or your tax ID number, which represents your account information. So, but all the alias that of users in Brazil is within the databases held in the Central Bank of Brazil. And it's also an anti-fraud database that I will talk about later. The PSPs, the payment service providers, are the ones who provide the services to the end users. Okay? The central bank decides the rules, the PSPs execute, right? So they are the responsible for the user interface, for the user authentication, for security. So the central bank publish their policies, the security policies, and the PSPs are the ones who is going to execute those policies. The characteristics of Pix, so for fast payment systems, they are available 24/7, about 24/7, and fast by nature, right? But Pix has some additional characteristics, which are, first of all, easy to use. So the central bank wanted that Pix was going to be used by very vulnerable people, so it has to be very simple, like very user-friendly, cheap, so it's free between natural persons. So if I'm going to send you like a Pix transfer, no charge at all. But the central bank allowed the PSPs to charge a small fee from merchants, from businesses. It's safe, as I mentioned before. The central bank has published a set of comprehensive policies of security to be implemented by the institutions. It's open, so any institution, any banks, non-banks, fintechs, credit unions, all of them, they can offer Pix. It's ubiquitous, so you can use Pix in any location with any device. And for merchants and companies and business, they can automatize and make the reconciliation between the Pix transfers and the sales, for example. So the participation model, who must join Pix? All of those institutions, banks in Brazil that has more than 500,000 active customers, they are mandatory, they need to join Pix. They must join Pix. And who can join? It's optional. All other banks and non-banks, they can offer Pix or not. It's up to them. But if there's some institution that do not offer Pix in Brazil, it might has a disadvantage in terms of competition with other institutions. And licensed payment initiator service providers, they can join Pix as well. Not only transaction account providers, but also the payment initiators. So what was the adoption strategy the central bank took when implemented Pix? And the reasons why Pix has become a success in the payment industry. First of all, no fee policy for individuals. It's for free. Between natural persons, you can send as much as transactions you want. You will not be charged for this. And there's incentives to reduce fees for companies. So again, institutions, they can charge a small fee from merchants and businesses. But it's, on average, it's much lower than, for example, credit cards. Communication, another strategy that the central bank had during the development and implementation of Pix. First of all, a single brand. It has to have a strong name, easy to remember and to pronounce. Pix, and that's it. Like if you go to vulnerable areas, in remote areas, for example, it's easy for the user to say, hey, do you want to receive it by Pix? Oh, Pix, it's very easy. And the logo, we developed like a logo as well. So when you have like a strong name and a simple logo, this might contribute to the success of the payment to the product. The central bank conducted a wide communication plan as well during the launch of Pix. So we developed a Pix website, a website dedicated to Pix with the frequent asked questions, so where people can go and make read all the questions to see. For example, if someone has doubts about Pix, they go into this website and they can find whether that their doubt is listed on the questions or not. The central bank launched TV campaigns, public events. We had the help of the press, digital influencers, all of them working towards a unique objective that was to communicate to the population the new fast payment system in Brazil. Another reason for the success of Pix was the simple user experience. Okay, so the central bank decided to publish a minimal set of standards in terms of user experience. For example, if I want to make a transfer from my account in Itaú, for example, like a large bank, and if I want to transfer in like a small fintech, the user experience will be very similar. Okay. There is also standardized APIs for merchants and businesses, so they can connect their software solutions to the banks and fintechs, and this will meet the needs of merchants. Governance, there is no single rule or functionality of Pix that is not discussed with the market participants, okay? No single rule. So we have a high involvement between the financial institutions, payment institutions, society, the press, with the central bank. So there's we have the Pix Forum, which is a place for discussions and engagement. Okay, all the rules within Pix that has an impact in the public goes through a public consultation. We need to listen to the society, and we have an open dialogue with stakeholders as well. Okay, so we have regular meetings with government, software providers, business association, press, even law firms. Okay, so we are always listening to the market, listening to their needs, suggestions, whatever. And then comes security. Security is something very, very important in any fast payment system. Okay, our concern by that time was that the society might have a clear perception that security in Pix is taken very seriously. Okay? So then security in Pix. We have 7 main pillars of security in the Pix ecosystem. First of all, infrastructure security. So the settlement infrastructure within the central bank is encrypted, so it's very hard, almost impossible, let's say, for a hacker to break into the system. It's very hard. Second one, security on participating institutions. So the central bank, as I mentioned before, has published a comprehensive set of rules and policies in terms of security. So institutions, they must to follow the rules, otherwise they will be subject to sanctions or even be excluded from the Pix. The third pillar, security pillar, is the centralized fraud information. Okay, so this is a database, as I mentioned in the beginning of the presentation, that has plenty of information of fraud, right? So it's populated by the institutions. So when an institution finds out that its customer is a fraudster, they will go into this database and mark that customer as a fraudster. So every time when a PSP is going to send a transfer, making a transfer, they need to check in this database whether the recipient is a fraud or not. If it's a fraudster, they will reject the transaction. We have the special refund mechanism, which is a set of procedures, standardized procedures to make the refund more efficient, okay? To facilitate the refund process. We have also the fifth pillar, is the strategic security group. So it's a group composed by, again, market participants. So that's the governments that I just mentioned. Market participants and the central bank. The market participants, fintechs, you, for example, banks, are the ones who, who are dealing with fraudster in the practice. We are the central bank, we're just, making the rules, but the institutions are the ones who, felt the needs, and then we need to listen to them, talk to them, and then we have, regular meetings. Prevention, for example, TV campaigns, radio campaigns, social media campaigns to try to educate the population, and continuous improvements. We are always, Pix has been going through lots of new improvements within the ecosystem, and in terms of security, it's not different. We are always trying to the fraudster goes to one side, we try to to go on the same path. Then I bring some figures here, some numbers of the Pix ecosystem. This is the real case, like use case. We can see this gentleman here, he's asking for donations in the middle of the street. And look, there's a Pix right there. Like his alias is a phone number, 81263. So if I want to make a donation to that gentleman, I go into my bank or my fintech account in the Pix environment, just type his alias, the mobile phone number, and then I choose the value, make the authentication, and that's it. You can make a donation instantly to that person. And on the other side, we have the extreme case. The extreme, I mean the opposite case. Uber. You can pay Uber ride through Pix as well. So you go from someone in the street asking for donations, asking for help, to a Uber. And then you can pay, for example, facturas. Facturas, the tax. If you want to pay tax, you can pay by Pix. If you go to a pharmacy, okay, scan your QR code, you're good to go, okay? So there's a bunch of, real cases, use cases where you can use Pix. In terms of transactions, in 2024 we had 63.7 billion transactions. This number, as of December of 2024, 6.5 billion transactions in just 1 month. And per day, on average, we had 140 million transactions per day. It's a lot of transactions, lots of transactions. Brazil is the second largest instant payment market, just behind India. In 2024, we had 295 transactions per capita. So which is the second largest per capita use. And then you can see the growth, right? So we start off like 2021, 90.4, and now we have 63.7. This is users, number of users. Again, we start off 16 million. Now we have 161 million individuals, which accounts for 75% of the Brazilian population. And we have 18 million companies, which represents 84% of the merchants and business with any relationship with the SFN, Sistema Financeiro Nacional, right? The national financial system. Financial inclusion. I'd like to bring some attention on this number here. So 71.5 million individuals started to transfer digitally. So all of these people were out of the financial system. So they were unbanked. And after Pix, more than 70 million people started to make transactions digitally. This is another interesting number. So percentage of individuals holding payment accounts. In 2019, 77%. Pix was launched in 2020. Now in 2023, 87.6%. And this number has grown. And here we can clearly see the decrease in the use of cash payments. Okay? from 76% to 40%. And then we can see the increase of Pix. We still have some people, lots of people using cash, but it has decreased a lot, as we can see, right? Yes, and then you can use Pix for e-commerce, transportation apps, as we saw the Uber, food delivery, entertainment, lots of use case. How the central bank achieved a successful fast payment? Just to wrap up. Brand and communication strategy. Okay, as I mentioned, like the name Pix is very intuitive. No fees for individuals. So why do we have 140 million transactions per day? Because it's for free. So people can transfer as much as transactions they want. It's open access, especially for non-banks. So we stimulate the competition. You're not dealing only with incumbents or large banks. You're bringing several participants, like more than 900 participants into the market. Okay? User-centered approach. So it's easy. It's very easy for the user. The user experience is very fluid. So easy and simple. Private sector engagement. We need to listen the private sector. We need to listen the needs of the private sector, the needs of the fintechs, the large banks, credit unions, any sort of institutions. We need to listen to them. But if you have a fast payment system which is easy to use, okay, no fees for individuals, it's open, it has a user-centered approach, and has a private sector engagement, but it's not safe, you're wasting our money. You need, the fast payment system needs to be safe. The population needs to have the perception that the payment system is safe. This is one of the most important things. Okay, this is it's a very basic. Just to finish, the main challenges that still remains for Pix. First of all, people. What do I mean by people? Especially the senior ones, the majorities, the seniors, like the older people, and the most vulnerable people. I mean, like people that live in poorer areas, very remote areas. They are a bit suspicious to use Pix. My mom, she started to use. She's 78, and she took 1.5 years to start to use Pix because she was very suspicious. Is it safe? Are you sure? So lots of people on more advanced age, they still have this, they do not trust 100% in Pix. And the second one, which is not particular of Pix, which is a problem that any payment system, like credit cards, fast payment system, Pix or whatever, it's common to all of these payment schemes, which is frauds and scams. So we are always trying to reach the fraudsters, but as we know, it's hard. It's hard to be on the same path. They are always un paso adelante, see? Entonces, it's very hard to be on the same path, but we're always studying, monitoring, developing new policies, developing new functionalities within the Pix ecosystem to try to be on the same level of these fraudsters, okay? And that's it. If you have any questions about Pix, you can send us an email at pix@bcb.gov.br. There's a frequent asked questions, and I mentioned before, where you can go and study a bit, make a fast study about Pix. And I'm available if you want to ask me questions or just talk to me on the other side, and I will be fine. Thank you very much.
Bueno, Luis Otavio, muchas gracias. Un fuerte aplauso también por entregarnos estas cifras espectaculares.